I am thinking about, now that we got the first hour of the show out of the way, and it was kind of a little bit of a hot mess express because I'm been up since 4:30 and I've flown back from New York City this morning. But, you know, we kind of got our feet under us. We talked about everything from family wills to anger to abundance and everything in between in 1 hour. I thought for a moment that I would take this show in a direction that it has yet to go.
Other than farts.
Other than farts. Okay. Other than marveling in the aroma of our own farts.
I'm here for it.
We have talked about, think about this for a second. In the short 3.5 months that this show has been on the air, we have handled a show about God. We've talked about death quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've talked about relationships, family issues. We've talked about spirituality and how it shows up for us in the good and the bad, your journey, the depths of your journey. We have tackled a lot of things. We, as a matter of fact, have tackled topics that, whatever the old saying is, here's the topics you don't talk about at Thanksgiving dinner. Well, there's one topic that we haven't talked about that falls in the category of don't talk about it at Thanksgiving dinner that I'm about to bring up.
All right.
Are you ready?
I don't think so, but I'm here.
Politics.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
There it is.
It's just like... the plane just crashed.
I could hear it. I could hear it happening in real time. But you know what? You've surprised me before, so I'm here.
Well, I mean, look, in many ways we're still, and let me say this out loud because it's worth saying out loud, you and I are still getting a comfort level in the show.
Yeah.
We've only been doing this for 3.5 months, so we're getting, better every week. So sometimes you have to use shows to experiment and try things. But here's where I want to go with politics. First of all, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just going to tell you, like, I don't sit on specifically since we have a presidential election coming up in a couple of months. I don't know my mind's not made up. I don't know if I'm undecided. I just don't really care.
Yeah.
Last 3 election cycles, I have voted for some other party other than Republican or Democrat.
All right. Likewise, by the way, before I just want to say I'm right there with you. Couldn't care less about any of it.
But here's what I care about. The debate, what was it, Monday night? Tuesday night?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. So I didn't even know it was happening. I laid down in bed. I went on social and I was like, oh, I guess the debate happened because social media was just blowing up. And instead of getting all wrapped up into what Trump said or Kamala said, I just started observing humans. Now, the cesspool that is social media is probably not the best thing to observe, but you know what? It's pretty accurate to humans right now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this and I'm watching a buddy of mine. Actually, all he did is he posted, it was kind of cryptic. It was like, the post was something like, okay, period, thoughts, question mark. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And then I started reading the comments. And the comments
good stuff.
It was just like
juicy.
It was just like, he lied or she lied or whatever. And I started to zoom out from all that. And then I just was like, okay, the debate happened. So I was like, okay, well, what really took place in the debate and what was said, and here's what people are saying and all that. And I started looking at this as a human experiment. And I'm like, okay, if we're going to talk about politics on Let's Get Real, it can't be about Trump or it can't be about Kamala or it can't be Republican or Democrat or whatever. There's so many places for you to get that information.
Mm-hmm.
But as humans, how can we expect to literally advance if all we're doing is fighting? If all we're doing is fighting about something that, and this will piss people off, as trivial as this, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a couple of political comments here. If you hate Joe Biden, look, our country is still here.
Okay.
He's been president for, I don't know if he's still president. I don't even know if he's still alive.
I don't even know where the guy's at.
That guy's on the beach somewhere.
Yeah, eating ice cream.
Weekend at Bernie's. But we're still here.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we're still breathing.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody who was just, I remember the night in 2016 when Trump got elected.
Whoa.
I literally was working with a bunch of, super hardcore Hillary fans.
Oh,
they were, they supported Signs in the Yard. donated. This one dude was a multimillionaire and donated to her. They were crying that morning.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, and then in 2020, we're still here.
Yeah.
And we're still as humans. Now, look, I'm sure there's people who just want to like go, yeah, but look at our economy or look at inflation or he lied or the January 6th and all that stuff. It's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when will we realize as human beings, when will we realize that this is like a game? This is like watching a soap opera.
Hey, man, you better take it easy with all that. You're going to wake people up. We're going to get in trouble.
Government's listening. Okay. And I don't want to jump to this yet, but I actually have a thing that has existed in my life that has happened to me over the last like 2 years that I feel like was a transcendent thing that applies directly to this. Okay. Now, if you're a Trump fan, you're going to be my brother literally signs in the yard, donates money, the whole thing. Like that's my brother. He's a big Trump fan. He texted me and he was like literally his text. And I know that it came from a very genuine place, but he was like, you got to hold your nose and vote for Trump in November because we can't let her win. And think about it. That comes from a place of fear. That comes from a place of fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can flip the script.
Yeah.
You got to vote for Kamala because you can't let Trump win because it's going to be the end of democracy or whatever. That comes from a place of fear.
Yeah.
But I genuinely and honestly believe, aside from the politics, aside from whatever side you believe, okay? And I know that there are people listening right now that are like, but he's. We're all pretty much alike. Like I could sit down. I've got good friends that are Kamala supporters. My brother's a Trump supporter. And I can sit down and I can have a conversation with these people. And I can find something that I really like about them. I can find something that I genuinely align with. And all this talk about unity. Oh, there's got to be unity. But you can't achieve unity through the lens of, well, if a Kamala supporter wants unity, that means come from the Trump side and vote for Kamala and then vice versa for Trump. I think if you literally if we grab 20 random people and we put them inside the Bones studio right now and we said, okay, I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you have signs in your yard. I really don't care. Let's just talk. Let's talk as human beings. You know what we would probably discover? We would probably discover at first all the ways in which we are alike. We would somebody would tell a joke and it would make somebody laugh. I'm sure we would do something that would piss somebody off and somebody would get offended, but we would still find unity from a true place and not a place of division. And as I was watching social media unfold earlier this week, and I was really, really thinking about it, what I realized was like, wait a minute. My tendency is to believe that like this is kind of done on purpose because if you can keep people divided, if you're the oligarchy, then you can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. But aside from whatever that conspiracy theory might be, and if the government's listen, you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, FBI.
Thanks, FBI, CIA. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, the best.
But if you realize that maybe there's division on purpose, and some of it we do to ourselves, that you get rid of all that and you get back to the authentic self like we talked about last Saturday, you start to understand that we're actually pretty alike. And then I could have a conversation with you. You could be, and I don't think you are, but you could be a hardened Trump supporter and I could be like, man, I don't agree with you, but I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Like I really wouldn't. Because I don't think, and I think there's one other political thing here. And I have no idea if we even have any calls at this point because I have a big thing on the screen, so I can't tell. So I could imagine that the calls are going to be, yeah, but. Is that, when you really think about this sense of division, and you think about the sense of like the anger that we have for one another, is that regardless of whoever wins an election, it's one human being. And aren't we at fault as humans for putting that much faith and that much confidence that one person is going to fix all of our ails? Like if you're a Trump supporter, if I'm my brother's name is Joey. I love him. That's all I'll say. He's a Trump supporter, hardened Trump supporter. Does he really believe that if Trump gets elected in November, all his problems are solved? I mean, he may, but it's like I asked that rhetorical question only because that's not the solution. The solution doesn't exist outside. The solution does not exist in a presidential candidate. The solution does not exist if you get your family's will figured out. The solution starts with your own ability to see your own self and then how you show up as another human being.
I like that.
I have no idea what I just said. But
no, I mean, I like it's, you know, I very much agree with you when it comes to unity and understanding that, you know, we're all just people at the end of the day, you know. I have been experiencing this really weird thing since, you know, just in the past 3 months where I'm starting to see how nature is involved in all this. And, you know, just like the duality of the universe, can't have life without death, can't have sweet without sour. Yep. And I'm starting to understand personally that when I zoom out, now I'm starting to see division as essential to this whole human experience. And I use the analogy of like a tiger and a field mouse. You know, the tiger's always going to eat the field mouse. That's nature. That is how it is. The tiger's not angry with the field mouse, and the field mouse isn't angry with the tiger. That's just nature as it is. We're going to have division in this world. You have to have division so that you can have some form of unity. If you didn't have one, you wouldn't have the other. It's the energy part that I am starting to see that holds the real power. How much energy through emotion can you get somebody else to emit through an outside stimuli? And there is a very interesting experiment, if you want to call it, because when I go and I read the comments and I see like pure hate, this weird thing is happening where I'm like, ooh, like that's kind of like it's invigorating a little bit. It's like the same when I read like a beautiful love story that makes me cry. I'm experiencing that same emotion just on the opposite side of the spectrum, which is still very essential to the whole human experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's actually, and I'm sitting here talking about rainbows and sunsets and, it's just unity.
But you need it,
but but you're right. Without having the mirror of division, you can't have unity. You don't know what unity is. You don't know what white is unless you see it against black.
Exactly.
So we need that to be able to see and make, okay, well, this is good. I didn't see that going this direction, but you're right.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, there's no like altruistic thing in all this. It's like, well, we just need to like all get along.
Well,
I mean, that
to
would
a
be,
point, to an extent.
I think it would be, well, and when you think about the lens in which I'm referring to, which is social media, nobody's going to go on social media tomorrow and say something about Trump or Kamala that's going to change the mind of somebody. It's
correct.
just not going to happen.
I agree.
But yet people are still, it's almost like they can't help themselves.
Yeah.
They got, I just got to comment.
That emotion, that it's like this juice that they have that they need to throw out almost. And like, where is that coming from recently? You know, like what is it that's happening that's making people have this extreme emotional reaction to world things that are so far out of their control?
Right. We have zero control over any of this. Like zero control, And so it's like, that's why I come back to like, so, and I'm not saying vote or don't vote or anything like that, but when you put your vote for any candidate, it's like you are saying, okay, well, I guess you're going to fix this thing. And the reality is, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're
they
not.
need the problems. They need a border crisis. They need energy crisis. Those are their talking points that they'll use forever.
Hey, before we go to break, because we need to go to break, you know what's so funny? Remember that show we did? I think it was like episode 2 or 3 of this show where we talked about God for 2 hours and nobody called, right?
Is it happening?
It's happening right now. Literally, nobody. We talk about politics and it's like the calls just fall off a cliff.